How's the punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast, episode 24 of the season. I'm joined by Simon. We've got quite a action-packed news episode. Not too much in the way of previews, but lots of recaps, and we're going to be talking about some interesting topics in the beginning. And we're going to start off with the Formula One. I think we should mix it up a bit, Simon. We'll talk about the Formula One recap, just because I want to bring that into something that we encountered with Gbets in one of their promotions. So let's kind of mix it up a bit, and you tell me what happened in the Formula One. I think it was Verstappen that won.
Yes.
Not Hamilton for a change.
Yeah, it was a really interesting race. I think most people who don't watch or follow F1, including my mother actually, will agree that when they enjoy the Grand Prix the most is when there are a lot of crashes. So I think for the casual viewer on Sunday, this was definitely one to watch. So there was a lot of drama on the weekend. There was quite a lot of rain before the race, and so a lot of the drivers were using intermediate tyres. So for those who don't know, intermediate tyres are used for fairly wet conditions, but aren't suitable for heavy rain because the tread isn't quite as deep as rain tyres.
Kind of like your all-purpose tyres for if it's very wet, we can if it's got some wetness or it's going to dry, there's going to be patches. That's what the tyres are good for.
Right, that's it. Yes. Whereas if it's pouring with rain, you're going to have to use a rain tyre because basically those treads kind of move the water off the track. So right from the start, the teams kind of had to decide when the best time would be to transition their drivers from intermediate to slick tires. So slick being a medium or soft tire, which are better for dry conditions. So, the weather was clearing up quite quickly, and that was always going to be kind of, the big decision to make in the race. But before that could happen, Max Verstappen got ahead of Hamilton, the Red Bull driver Max Verstappen, quite early in the race, and then Hamilton actually made quite a rare mistake. Which he led him to kind of spin off the right side of the track, and he lost about 30 seconds. He had to reverse on the gravel and then kind of reposition his car to enter the track, but ended up making a brilliant recovery. I mean, he actually ended up finishing second ahead of Lando Norris, who for me was probably the racer of the day. Lando made up 4 positions, and he actually got a podium for McLaren in the end. So
yeah, you were on a podium bet there, if I remember correctly. From
I
last
was.
week.
Unfortunately, it was Danny Ricciardo,
Okay.
the other McLaren driver. So it wasn't to be. But the other drama of the day, and this is related to all the crashes I was talking about earlier, was George Russell of Williams. He tried to overtake Valtteri Bottas, who is obviously Lewis Hamilton's partner at Mercedes, and his right tire hit the grass, which locked his wheels up, which caused him to spin really quickly to the left and collide right into Bottas. So, for any person watching, it seemed obvious that Russell was at fault, because it was his tire that hit the grass and caused him to spin into Valtteri. But what happened was, so both cars were totally buggered up. They were, sort of spewed on the side of the track. And George Russell got out of his car and went over to Bottas and just smacked him on his helmet, which was just totally uncalled for. And
It's
also,
not sportsman.
I also just don't understand how he could think that was not his fault. I mean, obviously he didn't want his tire to hit the grass, but at the end of the day, he was the one that, that tire hitting the grass was what caused him to crash into Bottas. So I actually read this morning that Russell subsequently apologized to Bottas. I think he said he saw the video footage, but I still don't know how he didn't realize that the accident was completely his fault. But yeah, so going back to I guess the highlight there. I mean, Max Verstappen did win the race ahead of Hamilton, which actually puts them at level. The only reason that Hamilton is slightly above him in the Drivers' Championship now is because Hamilton managed the fastest lap. So, yeah, neck and neck. So, as I said, I think it's going to be a very interesting season. I think it's going to be very much a duel between probably Verstappen and Hamilton all the way, and more than likely Mercedes and Red Bull. But I think it's going to be very close in the end.
Awesome, and it brings me into our next the next point, which is why I wanted to bring up the F1 so early. There was a promotion that you found over on Gbets, and this promotion basically, I think you're in the best position to describe
Sure.
this promotion.
Yeah, so I was looking at the Gbets site. I'm actually busy writing a review for them, which will be on Betting Guide fairly soon. And two promotions caught my eye, and the one in particular was it's a promotion where you get your stake back up to R1,000 if any driver you bet on loses the race but finishes on the podium. So, if they lose the race but finish second or third, you get a full refund in cash. So I thought
Which is a
that was
big promotion. So it's a cash refund is much better than getting a free bet or
absolutely,
something
absolutely.
or bonus.
Right, so no wagering required. So I thought it was really nice, and also up to 1,000 is quite decent. So and looking at the season ahead, I could see a situation where either Bottas, either Verstappen or I mean Bottas, sure as well maybe, but more than likely Verstappen or Hamilton are probably going to win. I wouldn't guess and say 70% of the
Yeah.
races. So I thought that was quite a juicy promotion, and unfortunately, so I reached out to customer support on Gbets just to clarify how the promotion works, and I was ready to place my bet. And well, first, what annoyed me about my interaction with the agent was as soon as I said promotion, he immediately pasted the canned response about welcome bonuses into the chat. Even though I'd posted him a link directly to the F1 promotion. So that was a bit
Yeah, it's
slack.
it's a bit rude, I think, to be honest.
It's like you didn't take any time to actually read my message. Anyway, so then when he did see the F1 promo, eventually he said, "Oh no, that promotion has been discontinued," which I find a bit strange because it's up on their website. So I think that's really
Yeah,
bad
that's
form.
that's that's extremely bad form. And we did reach out to them on Twitter. We haven't got a response. I did ask them to clarify because I went and checked this out myself after you mentioned it, and I found the promotion on the site. The promotion is live. The only thing that I can think of is that it says 2020 on there, but there's no terms and conditions. It just says for this F1 season. It doesn't
Right.
specify which F1 season, even though it says 2020 on it. Sure, that was when the promotion was loaded.
And
But yeah,
that also begs the question then, which of these other promotions which were uploaded around the same time are also not valid.
exactly. And
So
there's a lot of them up there.
yeah, and this is a question that I asked the agent, and he did at least he did go away, and ask a few people and come back, which I thought was better than just giving me,
Yeah.
any old response. And he assured me that all the other promotions are still valid, and it was only the F1 one. I'm a bit suspect of that answer because I think the ones that have been uploaded, from 2020 and 2019, I'm not sure if those ones will all be valid, but it's
Exactly.
a
It
question
looks like
worth
they're just
asking.
covering their own bums in case there's a potential payout that they have to do. So credit to the customer support agent for looking into it for you. But I mean, whoever's running the GBet site really needs to pull up their socks.
Right.
And I'm going to call them our Moomish of the week. Last week it was Superbets with their
Yeah.
with their sites being down. But seriously, guys at GBets, if your promotions are up, they need to be valid, or you need to put terms on them, or you just need to take them down. If you go look on sites like Betway, Hollywood Bets, they will have promotions up. They'll have a promotional period, and once the promotional period is over, they'll take it down. If the promotion is still up, and you've taken a bet and you want to fight with them about it, they'll probably give it to you because they know they're in the wrong about having the promotion up.
Yeah.
It might be a fight, but yeah, so very not cool from Gbets there at all. And while we're on the topic of bookmakers, I also want to mention that bettingworld.bet has been down. They sent out an email saying that their site has been compromised. You should no longer access it. They recommend changing. They actually in the email said if your password on bettingworld.bet is the same as any other betting accounts or any other accounts that you have, we suggest you change your passwords. And not good news for them. They're still down. I checked yesterday. I was still getting a 502 error. I think they're probably going to be gone for good. It's very strange because guys think of Betting World and they think of there's actually two Betting Worlds. I don't know why they decided to differentiate themselves or kind of split away from the tab Betting World, but they're still both the same site. They look exactly the same. One could even say it's like a clone of the other one. But anyway, they've been breached. But nice of them to send out an email, something that Superbets should have done.
Exactly.
But I don't see them coming back because I think this is probably just a convenient excuse for them just to kind of go quietly into the night. I made a deposit there a while back. I think it took me about 4 hours to get that deposit sorted. And I was trying to withdraw as well, and I was having so many issues with withdrawal. So yeah, I'm not gonna be betting with Betwell. I don't think many people are going to be betting with bettingworld.bet. That's the .bet site, not the standard one. But
Right.
talking about breakaway, Simon, the Super League is the hot thing on Twitter, on everywhere at the moment. So they announced on Sunday that a new Super League, I believe it's going to be 20 teams in total, but there are 15 teams that have kind of are the core teams, and there are 12 sort of super teams that have agreed to join this league. We have 6 from the Premier League. I believe it's 6. Yeah. So it's Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Arsenal. I'm probably missing 1 or 2 here.
And Chelsea.
And so basically your traditional big 6, and they've agreed to. They're in support of the league, and I just think it's crazy. What are your thoughts? Do you know a bit more about the Super League? What's going to go down? It's more of a breakaway from the Champions League than the Premier League, if anything.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting because this sort of news appears to have come out of nowhere, and you got to wonder, how much of this the Premier League potentially was aware of. Apparently nothing. But so as you mentioned, those 6 big teams from the Premier League, as well as teams like AC Milan, Atletico, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Juventus, all coming together to join this league. And the reason for this is supposedly because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the instability it's caused in the current football model. So, looking at it from a financial perspective, the clubs playing in the Super League will supposedly get paid about 3 times the amount of money as they do for the Champions League, which is obviously quite significant. They'll also be able to sell the television rights to the games themselves on their own channels, which will obviously also help them to become, more sustainable as a franchise. So, as you can imagine, the Premier League board is livid about this because they've been supposedly left out of these discussions, as well as the clubs. The clubs which haven't really been invited to this
and have no other way of getting in.
Right. Well, this is, I think, the biggest problem. So right now, as you know, I'm sure all our listeners will know, clubs are promoted and relegated from the Premier League, and they also have the opportunity to qualify in their respective leagues for Champions League football. But in the new Super League, no clubs, it'll kind of be like an NFL situation. No clubs will be able to enter the competition or drop out, which basically means there's no incentive left for clubs who aren't playing kind of in the highest echelons of football, So it just really turns football on its head. And I think as much as I can imagine that there is a lot of financial pressure for a lot of clubs at the moment, I just think it's maybe a little bit of a short-sighted decision. And I think that a lot of the smaller clubs are really going to suffer as a result.
Yeah, there were figures being thrown around of, I think it was 300 million a year, and I think just for I think it was winning the Premier League or staying in the Premier League or something like that, you get about 100 million. For winning the Champions League, I believe it's about 100 million. So just for participating in the Super League, they're really getting more than they're going to be getting from the Champions League and the Premier League combined. Yes. Which, I mean, look, I understand it from a financial perspective, but football unfortunately has become a business, but it's about the fans at the end of the day. And the fans love the Champions League. It's competitive. You get these dream teams that come up. Teams like Leicester win the league. They're now suddenly in the Champions League. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get this, and it's going to become complacent. I think football, and you're just going to see a decline in general quality.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about a decline in quality. So I think that's the one area where you could kind of argue the opposite. You could say, well, if you always have these fantastic teams in the league, the quality is always going to be good. But at the same time, I just think the idea of basically, cutting off teams and basically, ruining their chances of ever being able to play with the big boys, so to speak. And kind of, these great stories of teams who rise up through League One, through League Two, through Premier League to Champions League. Yeah. You're just not going to get that anymore. And I just think that that's really sad. So I do think that this decision is although it's probably granted from a financial perspective, I just think that it's the Premier League is saying it'll literally kill football, and I don't think that's an over exaggeration, to be honest.
No. Look, it'll kill European football in the sense of what it is and what it means. And they should rather be looking at other alternatives. But yeah, I just think it's a crazy decision. But I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm not entirely against the concept as a sort of, we have the World Club Championships, that kind of thing. It could be interesting, but something that's additional.
Yes.
And that clubs can maybe qualify for or something like that. But
not as a replacement, as you say.
Yeah, not as a replacement for something like the Champions League, which they've already revised. I think they changed the number of teams as well recently too. So, but let's jump on to some of the recent football results from the weekend. And Simon, from the Premier League, we had a nice big win for Newcastle, beating West Ham. I had West Ham as a kind of banker there. I didn't think that Newcastle would have a chance against them, and they won 3-2 in the end against 10 men, I think it was.
Yeah, what a great result. Yeah, they ended up beating the Hammers 3-2 at Tyneside. And with that win, Newcastle actually climbs to 15th on the table, and they're actually just 1 point behind Southampton and 8 points clear of the current drop zone. So we might have to bear watching them for another season, Rob.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm happy to have them in the Premier League for another season. Look, there are teams. Unfortunately, Sheffield is just not good enough for the Premier League. West Brom, they've been flirting for a while. Fulham, I think, has gone up and come down. I think they're just like the tune. They constant. I think those are the three teams that are going to go down. I think the Brighton and Burnley should be okay, but we'll have to see what happens. Then lots of other draws taking place. We had Arsenal drawing with Fulham, very disappointing results for Arsenal, grabbing the late equaliser there. Leeds Liverpool, another 1-1, and then Everton Spurs 2-2. So a couple of big names picking up draws, and not too much excitement otherwise in the league all taking place over the weekend.
Yeah, that Everton Spurs game was quite an entertaining one, that 2-2 draw. And Gylfi Sigurdsson and Harry Kane both got braces, so kind of hogged the score sheet in that one. But Everton were definitely the better team on the day. I think they'll be quite disappointed that they couldn't go away with all 3 points, because they certainly looked the better side.
And then, of course, speaking of Spurs, what's his name's gone? Old Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, the special one, not so special.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision. I think I read a stat, and look, I don't quite remember it exactly as hand, but they've thrown away so many winning positions. When they've taken the lead in a game, they've thrown it away. I can't remember what it was. A huge percentage of times where they've actually gone on to lose a game from a winning position. So I'm sure that had something to do with it as well. But so he's going to be looking for a job. Hopefully he can come down to Tyneside.
Not his first rodeo.
No, not at all. And I wonder if Klopp is not going to be on the unemployment in the unemployment line at some point.
Yeah, I mean
soon.
Liverpool's woes just kind of continue. I mean they drew 1-1 against Leeds, and they really want to pick up some points now to challenge the likes of Leicester and Chelsea and West Ham for those third and fourth spots.
Yeah, that they're looking. It's going to be a bit of a struggle for them. They really need those points, and that was a golden opportunity for them. But let's jump over to some cricket. South Africa getting smashed by Pakistan. Why don't you run us through what happened there?
Yeah, Friday, Pakistan went on to win the 4-match series against the Proteas. We've laboured the points of South Africa just really not being where they need to be, but there's some quality in this Pakistan batting lineup, I must say. I think their captain, Baba Assam, he actually got the player of the series. He has an incredible career ahead of him. I mean, he's only 26 years old, and geez, that guy can certainly bat. So, let's rather look at the positives there and keep away from the Proteas. But it wasn't the best series. We ended up losing 3-1. So, onto better times, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, I'm just such a sad place. I mean, the decline of our cricket, at least our rugby, the rugby camp has started training, so for the Lions tour. So hopefully we're going to have some joy from that from a national perspective, because Bafana, that's also just another joke at the moment. I mean, not even qualifying, but right. let me not get into that. So let's take a look at the upcoming Premier League games. We're not going to be previewing anything else. There's really not too much on that's too exciting. And even this kind of double triple game week thing where there's week 32's finishing, 33 starts and finishes over 2 days, and then 34. It's a little bit crazy at the moment, but we've got Chelsea taking on Brighton tonight. Not too much. Chelsea should pick up a win there. I think Spurs taking on Southampton is also another one where Spurs should be picking up a win. Manager's gone. Things are changing. Then we've got Aston Villa, City. There's Newcastle. There's two games that I'm quite interested in, and they're taking place over the weekend. Actually, I almost want to say three, but Arsenal Everton I think is going to be a very interesting match, and then Liverpool Newcastle, where Liverpool should be giving Newcastle a bit of a thrashing, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it doesn't look like the best card. As you said, we've got 2 matches just to finish off the previous week. So tonight with Chelsea and Brighton, and then tomorrow with Spurs, Southampton, and then going into match day 33, which starts on Friday, is the Arsenal Everton match, which is the only one that I have a little bit of interest in from a betting perspective. I think the Toffees they're definitely in slightly poorer form than the Gunners, but I just can't see how they're 8 to 10 favorites here, honestly.
The price is absolutely crazy on Arsenal.
Everton are 3 points ahead of Arsenal on the table. And I just think the only thing that's really dictating this price is the head-to-head stats, which, I always say these records are kind of dubious at best. I think they're often best ignored. It is significant. You actually have to go back 25 years to 1996 since the Gunners lost, not drew, but lost at home to Everton. But I still like Everton here. You can get 19 to 20 on a double chance with Betway, and I think that's actually quite cracking value. I think the Arsenal should be even money or even maybe 2.05 in this match. So I really think that you're getting some good value on Everton double chance here. And then, as you said, I have quite a few friends who are Liverpool fans, so I'm hoping that if we get together to watch this one, we'll have some bragging rights for Newcastle.
I doubt it.
But I'm speculative, yeah.
Yes, so I completely agree with you with the Arsenal game. I like Everton. That was my pick as well. Everton double chance, Everton draw no bet, just simply on value-wise. Like, I can't back Arsenal at 8 to 10. It's just 4 to 5. It's absolutely crazy. Both teams to score maybe I think is also an option, but there once again the odds aren't really that tempting, pretty standard, 1.87. So I think that's the right way to go, is with the draw no bet or the double chance. And I think with West Ham Chelsea, I think there's also West Ham 4.75 at home playing against Chelsea 1.75, 15 to 20 on the road. Also a little opportunity there for, I think, a double chance bet on West Ham. Not in the best of form at the moment, but they're still a good, solid side.
And obviously, Chelsea will have had slightly less rest too, so that's something to consider as well, having played tonight too.
Yeah, so I think I might take a cheeky double on both of those with maybe the draw no bets or a double chance. I'll just have to see what the best odds that I can find. So I think that's where I'm going to go this week with my bets. And then there's Leeds versus United. Really not much to talk about there. I think if that's even in this game week, I'm not sure. I've got it written down here. But I think that's it for the podcast today, Simon. I think we've pretty much covered everything.
I think so, Rob.
All right, awesome. Guys, thanks for tuning into this episode. We don't really have too many tips other than the Everton double chance draw no bet when they're playing Arsenal this weekend. We just think those odds are a bit nuts. And we'll catch you in the next episode. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.